Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. What a wild finish in this series with Roman Quinn scoring from second base. Max Muncy botches a simple ground ball that realistically should have finished the series in a series sweep by the Dodgers, but the Phillies get lucky and they desperately needed something. I would be lying, though, if I sat here tonight, and said that I'm somehow riding the emotional high after that victory, because quite frankly, a recipe for success is not Garrett Stubbs hitting you a home run and then relying on Max Muncy to make a simple play, to mess up a simple play for you to win the ball game, right? This is a disastrous way to really look at it from a Dodgers perspective. I mean, come on. You know Max Muncy's going to have all sorts of nightmares, and that play is going to be over and over and over in his head where he will lose some sleep. The alternative was a Phillies loss, so I'll take it for what it is, but I'm still so bothered by the product, and I'm really annoyed that this is what we are consistently seeing, to the point where the Phillies are so desperate. Kyle Schwarber's bunting to try and get on. Guys are trying to bunt and move guys over. This team, I know fans love manufacturing runs and playing small ball. That doesn't do a damn thing when this is your roster construction. You won't win many ball games when you are built the way that you are built right now, and then you're trying to bunt your way through some runs. And I get it. When you can't score at all, you have to try something. But it irritates me because that's not the recipe for success that we need from this squad right now. So realistically, when we see the Braves in a 4-game set starting Monday, that's going to tell me a lot about what we have here, because this team just is lifeless and it's boring and it's brutal and it's 4.5-hour games to score a handful of runs. They score in the first 4 innings and then eventually it all evaporates, like you saw in that second game of the series, which I have a lot of frustration towards Joe Girardi for what I saw in game 2, whether it's bullpen decisions, whether it's another bunting situation that I did not necessarily love. It irks me. It irks me big time. So if your thought was I would be jumping up and down and I'd be excited and I'd be thrilled for Roman Quinn, you're absolutely wrong. And for the idiots out there that try coming after me saying, Broads, Roman Quinn is good. I actually saw a tweet today that said this is why Roman Quinn deserves to be in Major League Baseball. Why? Why? Because the guy averages under 200 in years when he hits 230. He can't do any, he can't hit the baseball. He can't hit the baseball. He did today, okay. But you can't just take one at-bat and then apply that to who somebody is. When I look at the full body of work, he's a disaster more than he is beneficial. And that speed that you talk about is irrelevant if Max Muncy just makes a play that gets made, honestly, close to 100% of the time. Now, speaking of Alec Boehm, who did put that put that hit into second base territory, without him making a stellar defensive play the half inning prior, the Dodgers probably would have broken the score open, and it would have been a 3-run lead, a multiple-run lead, where the Phillies wouldn't have even been in position to begin with. So hallelujah. Thank you, Alec Boehm. This is coming during a game where he had to play over at third base, where he threw the ball 9,000 feet over Rhys Hoskins. And then he had to play over at second base during the shift, where he was frustrated with himself and he wasn't happy because he thought he should have made a play that he didn't. So this is just what he does. He battles that type of adversity. He doesn't take it to the plate with him all the time, and he just battles through all those tough moments that he has on the defensive side, and he could still apply something on the other areas of the game. And then when he gets a chance to make up for the mistake he did defensively. So kudos to Alec Boehm. He also hit a home run in this series, and I would love to see more power from him. No doubt about it. What a crazy finish of that game, though. I'll tell you what. JT Realmuto, what a joke of a stretch that we're seeing from him. Third base, he overruns third baseball. He doesn't overrun it. He thinks that the ball goes into the outfield. Dusty Wathan's pointing at the bag. Get back on the bag. Get back on on the bag. He gets tagged out. That's after in the ninth inning, he strikes out with the chance to maybe hit a walk-off, maybe give this team a burst where you don't have to go to extra innings. JT Realmuto is so bad that I'm willing to say you should play Garrett Stubbs for right now. He won't keep up this type of pace forever. That goes to Garrett Stubbs and JT. I think JT will eventually snap out of this funk because even if he's not fantastic and not unbelievably elite and just ridiculously amazing as much as people want to give him credit for, because there's not that many great catchers in baseball, so you saying he's the greatest catcher in baseball is really just telling you the position is not valued as much as you want it to be. But anyway, getting back to JT Realmuto, I'm willing to put Garrett Stubbs back in the lineup for game one of this series against the Atlanta Braves. Eventually, this little fun run and this little fun spark will die out if you play Garrett Stubbs too much. When you play energy guys and buzz guys a lot, well, then it really does fuse out and it doesn't hit as hard as when it's plugged in periodically. But right now, JT is such a disaster and he's in such a low point, to the point where he's getting called out at third base there? I mean, you got to be kidding me. That is brutal. That is so bad. That's arguably worse than what Max Muncy did, and that's saying a lot considering what Max Muncy did was putrid. I cannot believe that JT Realmuto looks this lost, and this is after he, in that 4-1 game that they lost in game one of this series, he stated afterwards, because in the ninth inning they scored a run, I think I'm finding something here. What are you finding? What are you finding? You look awful. Striking out at pitches that aren't even close to the plate, swinging, missing through trash. I mean, what are you close to doing? I'm seeing all these articles about him changing his timing with his leg and trying to figure out how to time the pitcher properly. You're not doing a good job. I'm sorry. This narrative, too, that, oh, don't worry about JT. He plays good defense. I don't care. I don't give a damn. JT Realmuto was brought in here for more than just throwing guys out at second base. I'm sorry. And I remember on a handful of occasions where I thought he should have stopped a ball that went into the dirt and ended up going behind him. So it's not even like he's fulfilling my satisfaction on that end either, to be fair. You can't, in no way, shape, or form, accept this out of JT Realmuto. You get paid way too much money, and your track record shows that you are better than this. I need 260, 270. He's unplayable. Unplayable. It's not even to the point where he's bad anymore. It's worse than bad. It's sit your ass down and don't play. So we could put in Garrett Stubbs. That's where I'm at with JT Realmuto for a limited amount of time. Not all year, not benching Nick Foles, Carson. No. But in terms of where we're at right now, take a seat, think about it, get your head right, do what you need to do. Until you figure it out, though, we're looking in another direction. Now, I doubt Joe Girardi does that. As a former catcher, I'm sure he's going to give JT the nod to work through it. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at all. So I'm bothered. Zach Eflin, awesome day at the office, huh? 12 strikeouts, the curveball. I get nervous when Alvarado's in there. Knebel hangs a curveball. That makes me nauseous. There goes the Dodgers scoring runs. And the Dodgers are a damn good baseball team, right? So sure, especially after you go into their building or you go into their ballpark, you explode, you take 3 of 4. Realistically, should have swept a 4-game series. I figured they'd have a sour taste in their mouth. I figured they'd be disappointed and upset. The Dodgers, that is, and would want to, counter what happened in Los Angeles here in Philadelphia. And they did that. If this series happened, 3 months from now, it's in August, and you have so much time in between what happened last week in August, I'm sure the intensity is not as much there. The fire by the Dodgers, the pissed off feeling that they had, it probably sneaked away a bit because they had so many other emotional series throughout that process to get to South Philadelphia. But because they were so close together, you figured there would be some burst of hatred, and it's still a bad feeling in their mouth. I still cannot support the lack of production from the offense. So stop with the whole small ball and this. You want to play small ball, you won't win shit. That's just reality. You want this team to manufacture. You won't win. You won't win. They're not built this way. And I got this message earlier this weekend. And someone told me, tell me why, Broads, this team hired Dave Dombrowski. I'll tell you why. Because he wins. He has won and built success throughout his entire career. So if you're bothered that the offense is built this way, or you're bothered by the way this organization handled their offseason, and I don't know what team or what fan base would look at Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber as disappointing additions during the offseason when you think about their bats. You'd be foolish to think that you should be more upset than excited during the offseason when you see that these two guys are acquired. But I digress. The reason why these decisions were made is because of where the previous regime left you. You have a Bryce Harper contract, and thank the Lord he came back into the lineup because I was starting to get nervous that it was more severe than they were leading on. But you had Bryce Harper on a big deal. You had JT. You had Zach Wheeler. These guys are where your current roster was with where they handed you the keys. This is what made the most sense, and it's still, even though we see the results early on here, it still made the most sense. So come on now. Now we're questioning Dave Dombrowski. He's the farthest thing from my problem. I'm more disappointed at Joe Girardi than I am him. And that's saying a lot because I'm not someone who screams at the manager every damn second. But at this point, quite frankly, I don't give a damn what happens to Joe Girardi. I'm sick and tired of his arms crossed after the games are over, where he's leaning back in his chair, nonchalantly answering questions and giving us no sort of energy whatsoever, where he's not doing anything that makes me feel that he needs to be here, to be honest with you. And this feels odd, and it feels strange after a win to have this type of outrage and all. But I'm sorry, I can't lie. I don't fake it. This is where I'm at. I'm almost more devastated and more fired up with how they won today in such a sarcastic tone. That was a mockery of baseball. That wasn't a good win. And I just want to win. When you lose so much, I just want to win. I'm glad that they won. I'm not mad that they won, but I'm just saying in terms of a mockery of the game, that's not a sustainable win that you should be excited about because, hey, they found a recipe for success here. And I know over 162, you're going to win games you shouldn't, and you're going to get lucky because teams are going to make errors. And there's a lot of teams that proceed with that type of philosophy against the Phillies because they constantly shoot themselves in the foot and they constantly make mistakes all the time. And we see it night in and night out. So it does happen. But when you're so down in the dumps and you're looking for this offense to click and you're winning because of Garrett Stubbs and you're winning because of Roman Quinn with a double, and look, Castellanos ended up getting a hit in there, which sparked some things and all, but I'm sorry, what I need this team to do to really rack wins together, it's not happening. And by now, while weeks 1 and 2, breathe, relax, let it go. You'll be fine. It'll be okay. We're past that point now. 41 games into the season. 3 games under 500. I've spread the message that the schedule was super difficult. If they could stay 500 and explode in the later months, then fine. But the problem is, you're scoring 0 runs. You're scoring 1 run. You're scoring a handful of runs. I need to see more from this offense to believe that they're going to turn this puppy around. And maybe the Atlanta Braves is the series to do it. I don't know. Blind faith, really. There's no logical reasons or no legitimate answers on why I feel that way other than blind faith and hope and praying to the baseball gods. It's crazy. All right. So, game 1, 4-1 loss. Ranger Suarez goes 3 innings, 84 pitches. It was a terrible baseball game. Here's what irritated me in game 2. 7th inning. Odubel Herrera and JT Realmuto. Odubel gets walked and JT Realmuto gets hit by a pitch. Camargo bunts them over to second and third. Is that the worst decision ever made in baseball history? Absolutely not, okay? It's not the worst thing ever, but you can make the argument, and this is not Monday morning quarterback. This is something I stated in the moment to myself when I was watching the damn TV. Why would you give the Dodgers an out there? You just watch them walk a guy within a handful of pitches and then hit JT Realmuto. He hasn't figured it out. He looks lost. He looks all over the map. Why give them one out? Then we get to the disaster where Dusty Wathan sends Odubel Herrera home with Bryce Harper up at the dish with 2 outs. What are you doing? What are you doing? That is a fireable offense, Dusty. And ironically enough, he holds, or at least attempts to hold, Roman Quinn at third base today. And Roman Quinn says, screw you, I'm going through it. He was safe by 5 million feet. Dusty, what are you doing? I've always had a problem with Dusty Wathan. And a buddy of mine, we always text back and forth because I freak out about this clown nonstop over the years. And I think he's terrible. And I think he's awful. And, you're seeing it on display the last couple of days. You want to freak out because Odubel went. Well, when his third base coach is telling him to, you have to go. Could you imagine if Odubel didn't listen to the third base coach? What you would say in that predicament? How do you not listen to your coach? That's 1,000% on Dusty himself. If that was any other base runner, you wouldn't be mad that the base runner went. So don't just apply it because you despise the center fielder or, the outfielder, I should say, in Odubel Herrera. And I'm not the biggest fan in the world, but come on now. That's on Dusty Wathan. How do you recognize that Bryce Harper is up to bat with the bases loaded in that sequence after you got lucky? Will Smith doesn't know what to do with a little rundown over at third base. Odubel's safe. Rhys Hoskins ends up being safe. Hold on a second. Excuse me. That might have been, was that Alec Boehm? Or it might have been Alec Boehm who hit the shot over to third base. But regardless, it's a position where the Dodgers shoot themselves in the foot. And you do what? Excuse me? Now I'm watching Joe Girardi with boneheaded reliever problems. Connor Brogdon looks massive in a big-time spot to get out of a jam, right? Kudos to him because he's been sharp his last 3 outings, and you desperately need that. But then you put him out to start the next inning, and then a couple hits get off of him? All right. Alvarado cleans up the mess. Now you start the next inning with Alvarado again? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's the title of today's show. Joe, why are you putting these relievers after they clean up the crap back out there again? Now, post-game, I'm hearing, well, guys weren't available today. Well, they're not available because of the trash decisions that you're making earlier to make this all happen. It's one big snowball effect. 3 games ago, 2 games ago, 1 game ago, and I get it. It's difficult when Ranger Suarez goes 3 innings and you got to work through your bullpen and basically almost have a bullpen game at that point. But you are not good at deciding on when to go to certain people. Trust me, I've been marking it all down. And the fact that that's what you think is the best idea, you're putting your players in a position to fail. I praise all the time that players have to perform. They have to execute. And damn it, I stand by that. But with Joe putting them out to start the next inning after they do what they're supposed to do as a reliever, that is miserable. That is bad managing. Managing 101 is terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Aaron Nola in that second game went 5 1/3. He was electric, right? Phenomenal, really. But then we saw the Aaron Nola that blows up. But what I saw through those first 4 or 5 innings was sensational Aaron Nola. And I'm having a hard time processing what happened late, whether it's 2 strikes. The long ball is always a conversation with Aaron Nola. And that has been somewhat applied to his game as of late, which is he runs out of fuel, he runs out of gas, and starts getting shelled. I've seen so much great Aaron Nola this year compared to the negative. It's hard for me to rip him, but I need him to clean that up. I need him to be sharper. Those first handful of innings was electric, like dynamite. Maybe one of the best Aaron Nola performances I remember. And that's saying a lot because I feel over his last couple of starts, I've said that during the postgame show. That might have been the best. That might have been the best. That might have been the best. Well, if I'm saying that, that means his stuff's getting nastier and nastier. I know Zach Eflin, that was the best I've seen. That curveball, those 12 strikeouts, magnificent. You're getting good starting pitching. You really are. A couple hiccups along the way, but the full body of work as of late, your starting pitching's doing a fine damn job. The offense is my number one issue. Bullpen's going to blow games, and I get that. Offense has to get going. And if it doesn't, Oof. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to keep up with this stuff. I really don't. I really, really don't. That second game, too, I'm just looking at some things I wrote down at the time that bothered me. Castellanos missing a pop fly in foul territory. Alec Bohm makes a magnificent diving play to his left, but pulls Gene Segura off the bag with his throw. He tends to do that sometimes after making a really strong, solid catch or diving play or whatever. When he goes to Gene Segura over at second, it seems sometimes he rushes it or tries to get the ball out too quickly. I don't know. But that happens sometimes. They lost that game, and it is what it is from there. They did not deserve to win game 3. They did not deserve to finish this series out 1-2. They did. What does this mean? I don't know, because this game isn't a game to build off of. This isn't a game where you take things that happened and worked and you move forward with it from a hitting perspective. Is there some life because Roman Quinn came around home and the ballpark was cheering? Sure. I've been around long enough where I know that you want to pretend the team could build off of that? That's great. I've seen this team not build off of that more than they have. So we'll see. I mean, this Brave series is going to tell me a lot, because if they go through the motions again and I'm watching a 4-hour game and they only have 3 hits and it's dry and it's boring and it's nonchalant and it's what we've been seeing really for the last 3 years now, I'm going to be deflated and defeated and beat up big time, because I can't handle it. If you can't tell, we're 41 games into the season. I'm in that breaking point already. Says a lot. It says a lot. It's a long season. I stressed it early on. It feels the same as it always has. They did a great job in Seattle and LA. That 2-series run, we'll get that. And it won't be on the West Coast. It'll be on an East Coast stretch where we can all watch it at 7:05, 6:45, 8:10, whenever that game begins. Like, we'll see a 2-series set where they win 2 of 3. Then they win 3 of 4. That'll happen. But if it's followed up by this again and nonsense again, So, yeah, the tone has shifted quickly for me. There's no denying it. But I don't know how you could pretend like you're excited or you can pretend like you're stoked. 2 weeks in? Yes. Now, 41 games in. They were on pace for 73 wins. I expect them to get way more than that. Last year, they were in a position with the new format involved, if they had the format, everything going, where, hey, maybe we see a little postseason ball. So it's not even like you need the it factor to squeak in anymore. Is that where the bar's at? I don't know. But clearly, I'm disappointed. And I'm sorry. I don't want to be negative. I want to be happy. I don't want to feel this way. I want to enjoy my baseball. I don't enjoy my baseball right now. So something has to change. I thought we would by May 22nd. I'm not. And it's not even close, really. It's not even like there's much to build off of for manufactured happiness. 856-442-9805. We'll get to the phones in just 1 minute. Guys, we have a new partner here, and it's one that we've been wanting for a long time now, Freestone Farm CBD. It's my favorite CBD brand because they farm it themselves with all organic inputs, and they offer only the highest quality genetics in their strains. I've tried a lot of different brands, but honestly, Freestone Farm CBD has been amazing for me. I personally like using it after working out to help me with regular post-workout feel and before bed as I've been sleeping better at night. What's even more exciting, our friends at Freestone Farm CBD just unveiled all new strain menu with some awesome CBD at really reasonable prices. Just check out their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at 24.1% CBD. You can use promo code BROADS for 20% off at checkout at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. The link is down below in the description. Let's kick things off here with our first caller. Hello, you are on Broads Media.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so even though we won, I'm not happy. I feel like it just takes a lot for this offense to get locked and loaded and the fact that it's not like we won because of a hit. We won because of it's kind of like the Dodgers lost more of that. Nola, I think Nola looked he looked really good. It's just he had a little bit of trouble executing on his 2-strike pitches.
But he does that, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't just forget about that, right? Because that's a part of the Aaron Nola storylines, which is 2 strikes, he gets shelled, the long ball keeps happening. So he was as sharp can be, but it keeps happening. And I don't know what he has to do to bear down and make it stop. But if it doesn't stop, there needs to be a real conversation on what the hell is going on here.
I think it's just get that breaking ball down. Execute with the fastball. I'm honestly pretty sure that 4 of his 4 runs were gotten on 2 strikes. I don't think there was ever a run that was scored because on like a 3-1, 2-1, 1-1 count.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, as there's been a lot of craziness since then. But Aaron Nola, to me, I mean, I know you're a big Aaron Nola fan, so your mind's naturally going into Aaron Nola as you are a frequent caller and you love to share your expressions on him. I have so much in my head right now, and Aaron Nola, while I'm disappointed in that last inning where he got annihilated, I don't know. Aaron Nola is just kind of not even on my mind right now. I'm so pissed off about the offense. I'm so annoyed with the offense. I'm so annoyed with JT Realmuto, who's unplayable. I'm actually a little bothered by Kyle Schwarber. I'm upset with these guys. Rhys Hoskins, 8th inning. It was the 8th inning, right, where he had that double play, 1st and 3rd. Now he's throwing trash cans in the dugout, and people are excited about that. Yeah, show some emotion. Fuck the emotion. Fucking play the game better. That's what I want. Be better at your job, everybody. That's not targeted towards Rhys Hoskins. I'm talking about the team. Don't be enlightened by woohoo, they're showing fire in the dugout. You know what I prefer? Smiles. You know what I prefer? High fives. You know what I prefer? Winning baseball. I don't want to see trash cans flip. That's not what I want to see. I want to see a product that I can enjoy. So spare me with the joy that the team has a little bit of pissed off. What? For what? To lose a series? To lose at home all the time? To suck majority of the time as a team? I don't want it. I want to see happiness in my life and in the life of Phillies baseball. All right, so Michael Scott is a hater in the chat here. He says, I'm being too harsh. We won the game. I'm talking about the series. So, hey, Michael, did they win this series? Or how does that? You want 1 every 2 games, you're happy? You're happy with winning 1 every 2 games? Or you're satisfied with how the Phillies are playing right now? God bless. Because if you are, you enjoy being a sports fan way more than I do. You look for different things than I do. They lost the series. They lost the series. And don't hit me with they lost it to the Dodgers, so you should take that. Look at how they've played. You honestly watch baseball and think to yourself, this is great. I have 0 complaints. Bring me more. How? Yeah, see, Andrew's in the chat saying, love seeing that from Hoskins. I don't. I want to see winning. I want to see winning. That's what I want to see. Let's go to Amadeo. What's going on, Amadeo?
To continue that point, you continue playing like this, you're not beating teams like the Cincinnati Reds. That's how bad you're playing. It doesn't matter the competition that you're facing.
You might beat the Reds, but that's a low bar.
Are you giving them a little too much though?
No, the Reds. How many? The Reds have 12 wins. The Phillies almost have 20.
I don't know. It's like you said, the way they just don't spark hope right now. The one thing that really just bothers me, it's the fact that, like, you come off of an insanely good road trip. It ended sour, but still, 5-2 road trip. You come to Citizens Bank Park and it just dies. How do you come to your own home field and just lose any spark that you got? I don't care that Bryce is not in the lineup. You have so many guys in the batting order that can do the damage without Bryce Harper. I just don't understand why. Seriously, your most consistent hitter is Alec Bohm. And it's not a knock on Alec Bohm because he's been great. But Schwarber, Castellanos, Hoskins. Where are these guys at?
Yeah, you're right. You would think that they would be able to hold the fort down a little bit better without Bryce. Not that Bryce isn't very important. He's extremely important. He's insanely important. But bringing in Schwarber and Castellanos, you would think if Bryce Harper was out a game or two that it would look better than it did, and we were flat out wrong, obviously. And yeah, I mean, in terms of Alec Boehm, he did hit a home run this series, which is nice. He's been hitting the ball fine. I would like to see more driving and more, really raking and getting more power involved with his swings. But as for right now, I can't complain considering where he was from last year to this year. But that's why you say when you throw out there that Alec Boehm's your best hitter, he is. And that's a problem considering it's not as if the dude is raking. He's just putting good bat on ball and doing some little things with the hitting. I can't wait until it turns around with more doubles in the gap and more extra base hits and more pop and power, which I imagine is in that body frame. Hopefully at some point it comes out of him a little bit.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that standpoint. Just going to Joe Girardi, it's like when you brought up the fact that like when you're tired of hearing him in his press conferences, like with the nonchalant attitude that he has, it's just like every time that I see that, it's just like, I don't know, does this attitude, just the non-existent attitude from Joe Girardi just like brush off onto the rest of the team? To
Probably,
where it's affecting them in some way?
I know that's the theory of a manager, that his personality is forcing these guys to not have personalities. I think that there's too much money involved, and you're a professional athlete, and you have your own personality regardless who's in there. If it's Gabe Kapler or Joe Girardi in there, Nick Castellanos is having the same season. Kyle Schwarber is having the same season. Whether it's Gabe Kapler, whether it's Joe Girardi, or it's any other manager in there, when you're in the box, it's mano y mano. It's 1-versus-1. So there's only so much that can happen. Now, what bothers me more that I didn't even bring up about not Kyle Schwarber, but Joe Girardi is when Odubel Herrera was sent in that 7th inning and he was gunned out at home by Mookie Betts. It was clear and obvious that was a horrendous idea to send him. Instead of saying we made a mistake, I didn't hear him say anything about it being the wrong move. He said, I trust Dusty. Sorry, what? You can say someone made the wrong move. You could say it was a bad idea. You could say we probably shouldn't have sent him there. Don't say, well, Mookie made a good play. I trust Dusty. No, it was wrong. It was wrong. Say it was wrong. Say you shouldn't have done it. Say you probably should have held him. Do something different in that situation next time. That should be what was said by the manager. Doesn't seem like Dusty's being held accountable by Joe Girardi, unless I missed something. I don't think I did, because I was waiting with my volume on volume 90 when I had the channel on my TV, waiting to get the answers, because I demanded answers on if Odubel went by himself or if somebody sent him. So if the manager's not going to tell the world, the team, the fans that wasn't okay. Oh, geez, that's a bad look. Unreal. I'm not mad at Joe Girardi about the lineup. Why did Rhys change? Well, Rhys is playing fine in the one spot. Since Rhys Hoskins was hitting leadoff, there hasn't been a problem. Rhys Hoskins out of the one has probably found his most groove to this point. I know today he didn't have a hit, but he had, since going into the leadoff spot with the Dodgers, he's had hits in majority of his games. There were 3 games that hasn't had a hit. Other than that, 2 RBI, 1 RBI, 2 hits, couple walks in there. I don't have an issue with Joe Girardi's lineup as of late. When Bryce isn't in the lineup, you have to try and figure out who can bat third. For the most part, though, Boehm hitting 2, Rhys Hoskins hitting 1, Castellanos hitting 4th, Bryce hitting 3. It seems they have figured something out that they don't mind rocking with your top 4. From there, Stubbs is going to be in when JT's out. That's a lineup change. Camargo's going to play. Didi Gregorius, a 280 hitter, is out of the lineup right now, which is hurting you. But Camargo's going to play. Bryson Stott's going to play. These things are going to change by the bottom of your lineup, so there's going to be new lineups. The Dodgers have a ton of different lineups. Things are going to change your lineup. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the guy's not hitting. And stop it with, well, he's not hitting because he's hitting 7th this day and 3rd this day. No, he's not hitting because he's not hitting. He's not hitting. He's not hitting. He's in the batter's box hitting 3rd, hitting 7th, hitting 1, hitting 6th, whatever it is. Obviously, Bryce is hitting 3rd, but you get my point. When you're in the batter's box, hit the baseball. I will defend Joe there. That if you feel this team isn't hitting because of Joe, no, they're not hitting because they're not hitting. And it's on them to do a better job when they're in the box. That's what it is. Let's take our next caller. Hello, you're on Broads Media.
Hey, bros, how's it going?
I've had better nights.
Yeah, I figured it a rough game. Hey, I just had a couple of comments. I've been thinking about these past couple series I've been watching. Is Odubel seems to be really slow out of the box. Like he seems like he's trying to pimp every little home run he gets.
You're breaking up a little bit, but in terms of Odubel Herrera trying to pimp things, Odubel Herrera's always been trying to do that. So, I don't know. The last thing on my mind today is, does Odubel Herrera pimp too much? I don't know. We'll try this again. You're calling back in. Let's see if it sounds a little bit crisper. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So what I was saying is like, it seems that every time that Odubel Herrera hits the ball, that he's trying to pimp it. Like he's really slow out of the box.
Yeah, you're still kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know. I just my emotions today is in surrounding Odubel coming out of the box. Base running maybe, but at that point, I'm mad at Dusty Wathan for Odubel Herrera. I look at this series, and while Odubel is always going to play a role in frustration with Phillies fans, as it should, and he's a part of the problem offensively, and he's a part of the issue in general because the entire offense is. When I look at this Phillies offense, I'm more disgusted in JT over Odubel. I'm more disgusted at times with Schwarber over Odubel. I'm more frustrated with this top end. Rhys Hoskins, JT, Kyle Schwarber. Like, these guys got to pick it the hell up. Odubel should be 7th, 8th in your lineup. At that point, it's a totally different story to be screaming about your 8th hitter, right? Your 9th hitter, your 8th hitter, your 7th hitter. And the reason why sometimes he's hitting higher is because the Didi Gregorius isn't there. So now that's pushing guys up into the order. I'm not an Odubel Herrera fan, but I think number one is JT on my list. Kyle Schwarber's on my list. These guys are really irritating me more than anything else, and until that changes, it's hard for me to get upset about Odubel out of the box and pimping things. That's just my personal opinion on it. But with that being said here, I'm just going to kind of wrap things up. This team's bothering me. That's all. That's what I got for you. This team's bothering me. Shut out 2 times in 3 days against the Padres. Almost shut out a 3rd time in 4 nights, but they squeezed out a run in that late inning in game 1 of this series against the Dodgers. I'm not having fun. I'm not going to sugarcoat it by pretending like this win that was a crazy turn of events is going to be all right with me, because they're so much deeper. There's so much more that needs to be talked about than just a quick adrenaline rush of Max Muncy missing a ground ball, because there's way more problems with this than squeezing out a win. And it sucks, because I don't want to feel this way at all. And I apologize for giving you this type of emotion. But this is where I'm at. So thank you guys so much for listening to today's show. And I